Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Flex Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. Today, I'm joined, of course, by Brandon Adam. You can follow him on Twitter at Brandon D. Adam 19. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a good one for you today. We're doing part 2 of the perfect fantasy football draft in 2022. Last week, we did rounds 1 to 4. Let Brandon push the line whenever he could, but that's okay. We'd like you for it, Brandon. You're a perpetual line pusher. Today, we're going to be doing rounds 5 to 8, and then honorable mentions. Guys, you should probably target a little bit later in your draft. So, Brandon, let's get going. Let's not bury the lead. Who is your perfect player to draft in round 5 of 2022 fantasy football drafts?
Okay, before we do that, I'm going to give you a review of my perfect lineup. So I got Justin Jefferson round 1. I got DeAndre Swift round 2. T. Higgins round 3. So you call me perpetual line pusher for a reason. So I had Bateman as my round 4. We talked about Bateman. So I kind of pushed him up in that grouping around 4, but he should be round 5. And I had Brees as my round 4 pickup. So I couldn't decide between which one I should put it for round 4. So because both of them kind of have a close ADP. So I had Brees round 4, and then Bateman's round 5 for me. So Bateman is my round 5 pick, but I have a grouping of also for round 5. I have Kyler, Amon-Ra, Lamar, and Bateman. Those are the guys that I'm looking at in that round.
See, ladies and gentlemen, we asked for one damn player. He just gave you 4. He just gave you 4.
Hey,
who's one?
I gave you a grouping.
You have one pick. Who are you taking? Are you taking Bateman?
It's Bateman.
You already took him around 4. He was your round 4 pick. Who's your round 5 pick? I know who it is. It's got to be Kyler, right?
It's Kyler. It's Kyler. It's Kyler. Unless I'm doing a Bateman lineup, then I'll do Lamar because I want that stack. So it's either Kyler or Lamar. But I'll take Kyler because Kyler is just close to my heart, and he's in the news lately, so it's always good to have him in the news.
Yeah, let's talk about that. He finally got paid. He got a 5-year deal. His annual average salary for the extension was number 2 behind Aaron Rodgers in terms of annual average salary. Didn't get the full guarantees. It was, I think, around $100 million guaranteed. But
$160 million guaranteed.
Oh, it was $160 million guaranteed. Okay, so that's not something to shake a stick at. Now, obviously, he didn't get the full guarantees like Deshaun Watson did, but I think it was unrealistic to expect that. And a player like Kyler Murray, the way that he plays, he's a smaller stature guy. He puts his body at risk. We've seen it the last couple seasons where he just starts the fantasy football season an absolute fire, then honestly fizzles out just because of injuries. It happens. But the Cardinals are obviously bullish on him. They gave him the extension. So no holdouts, none of that garbage. He's going to be there. He's going to be the leader of the team. He's got Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown stepping in for DeAndre Hopkins. Will DeAndre Hopkins serves the suspension? I like him, man. I'm warming up more and more on Kyler. I actually took Kyler at 1.5 overall in the Scott Fish Bowl, as you know. And, I got some criticism, take him over Lamar. But Kyler Murray, man, we talk about what's going to win you a fantasy football league, okay? Yes, obviously players need to stay healthy. And you could argue, well, one player is going to stay healthy more likely than the other player, right? But when you look at that unique combination, and I'm totally stealing your thunder here, Brandon, I'm sorry. But when you look at that unique combination of passing proficiency, he's one of the most efficient passers in the league right now, today, coupled with that insane rushing upside, he's got the wiggle, baby.
And he got paid. So and he got paid. So I think he's going to be more likely to run now that he's not going to be trying to get a contract. And I think that does come in pro athletes' minds sometimes when you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars. And, when you have his stature, I'm not going to lie, he is a smaller guy. He is thick, but he is small. So, and when you're running a 4.3 and somebody else is running a 4.4 that outweighs you by 50 pounds, you're going to lose that. You're going to end up losing that. And it's just what it is. But the risk is there with Kyler, but the upside, it's so tantalizing. It's so incredible to look. His deep ball throwing is the best in the league by the stats. I don't care what anybody says. It's the truth. And he did it without DeAndre Hopkins last year for a majority of the year. Like he really did.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is now he got himself the best wide receiver he's ever produced at
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma. When he was at Oklahoma, it was Marquise Hollywood Brown. And Hollywood Brown is looking to get paid. He wants to get paid. So what is that? What does that mean? He is going to be telling his boy, send it deep and send it to me. I'm going to go get it for you. And that is why Hollywood Brown is in that offense now. It's going to help pull away some people from DeAndre Hopkins when he's back. Zach Ertz is another. He won't be in our draft here, but Zach Ertz is the best stack for Kyler Murray, bar none, by value. And Ertz has top 3 to 4 upside right now. And you can get him as the freaking tight end 9. Tight end 8. And that is just incredible value. I'm all in on Kyler. I love Kyler. Tough schedule for sure, but that means he's just going to have to play even better and raise his ability. And I think just, he had a young coach as well. So they're all learning together kind of on the fly. And I think this year will be a much better year for them. I think they do make the playoffs, and we'll see if he gets his first playoff win. But I'm a big Cardinals guy. I like that offense. I like everything about it. It's going to be a great offense, and Kyler is going to be the reason why, because he is just spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, I love Kyler Murray. I have Jalen Hurts ranked ahead of him, but they're in the same tier for me. So honestly, flip a coin. I'm happy with both those players. And honestly, in terms of just security, Kyler Murray is probably more likely. He's far more secure. At the end of the season, this is going to be the starter. Jalen Hurts, if he has an absolute crap start to the season, maybe he won't be, but that's a discussion for another day. Love the Kyler Murray pick. Sorry, Mike, you're not on here to defend him against him, so too bad. Okay, so my round 5 pick is Rashad Bateman. We already went into detail, so I'm going to not cop out and take that one, but just to quickly refresh the people, my perfect draft was Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, and then I went with Travis Etienne in round 3, and then Breece Hall in round 4. Nice balanced draft. Round 5, I'm coming back, and this one's interesting. I mean, I'm definitely taking Rashad Bateman here, but there's actually a number of interesting players in this round. And I'm going to put the stamp on Darnell Mooney as just an absolute player that I love drafting at the end of round 5. Darnell Mooney is currently going as wide receiver 28, so he's a firm role position player for you. And he's going to 57 overall, ahead of other guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So it was kind of between Amon-Ra and Darnell Mooney, but I'm ultimately going to stick with Darnell Mooney because Justin Fields did start to show improvement as the season went on last year. Okay, so they have a new coaching staff, a new regime, and some will argue, well, they don't have anything invested in Justin Fields. Well, you do. I mean, the team invested a first-round pick in Justin Fields last year, and they traded a first this year to get him. So you do have something invested in Justin Fields, whether you drafted him or not. Darnell Mooney is still really the only game in town. Like Cole Kmet, crazy stat out there that he had, the most targets without scoring a touchdown for a tight end with 93 odd targets last year. Velus Jones doesn't scare me. He's older than you and I are, Brandon. He's an old dude, quick as hell, so he's definitely going to stretch the field. But Darnell Mooney's going to be a lock for 140 targets again this year. He's a slighter player, but he's showing an ability to stay healthy, and he's got that wiggle to avoid those high injury collisions. So Darnell Mooney, if I'm drafting around the back of this round, I love taking Darnell Mooney as my wide receiver 3, and it's great upside. Anything to say about Mr. Mooney?
I get it. I would take Amon-Ra. I think Amon-Ra is grossly underrated. I think I think we're gonna go. I think about 4 or 5 weeks into the season, we're gonna go, why the heck didn't we have more Amon-Ra? I honestly believe that because there's so many, like you said, that round is packed full of stuff, packed full of players. And I think Amon-Ra just gets overshadowed a little bit. But what Amon-Ra did last year at the last 5 games is just incredible what he was doing. So I just feel like that offense, I think he's a great pairing with Jared Goff, to be honest, with Amon-Ra. Because his route running ability, it makes it easy for Jared Goff to get it out, get it on time. That's exactly what Jared Goff is as a quarterback. He's a rhythm quarterback, and Amon-Ra fits him perfectly. Jameson Williams won't be coming until, I don't know, quarter of the way through the season, third of the way through the season. So that first part of the season, Amon-Ra is going to be the number one wide receiver for sure. Hawkinson hasn't proved to me anything. Okay. Hawkinson hasn't proved a damn thing to me. That guy has been so frustrating to own because the talent is there. He is an incredible talent. I just think he's got no real toughness to him. I think he has to learn how to be a real pro. And I think he has to learn how to be a pro, man. Like I think he's a bro. If you actually see him off the field, he's a bro. And you could just tell, like, I don't know. I just don't think he has that grit that I like in my tight ends that take that hit, get up and laugh about it. He likes to sit down and, and kind of baby is whatever you got hit, whatever hurts. And you can just tell that he's not a tough guy and compared to other guys. And I have a problem with it. So I kind of shy away from Hawkinson, even though he's an uber talented player. He should be a star, but he's just not right now. Like I don't understand it. So he just needs to stay healthy and stay on the damn field. And I don't believe TJ Hawkinson. And if he doesn't,
of Brandon D. Adam 19 on Twitter, you can add him on Twitter. Don't be a bro, be a pro. TJ Hawkinson.
Be a pro. Yeah, be a pro. Don't be a bro, be a pro. Exactly. And pros know how to play through bullshit injuries. Everybody's injured in the NFL. I don't care. Like that, like the little stuff, you get paid for a reason to go through that. And that is part of your job as a pro. As an athlete, you got to just understand that. And it seems like he's slow to it. I don't know. Maybe he'll end up leaving Detroit and just be a superstar somewhere else. But I don't know. But I don't get it. But Amon-Ra is so undervalued. I think he's a top 20 wide receiver by the end of the season next year.
I would love that. I love Amon-Ra. I mean, I have so much regret. Last year, I was all in on Amon-Ra.
I know. We talked about him a ton.
Until the NFL draft. We talked about him a ton until the NFL draft, and he fell. And then I'm like, there's just too many red flags. And then he just absolutely lit the world on fire. The only reason, so, full disclosure, we both had Amon-Ra St. Brown highlighted as a player we wanted to target. But if I had to choose, I have Darnell Mooney ranked one spot ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm just going on my rankings. I love both those players, and I would be happy with both those players.
I think Detroit's offense is going to take off a little bit.
Oh, I think so too. DJ Chark, I'm still a DJ Chark truther. I think that's what you have to be at this point to think that he's going to be relevant. And I think he's going to eat into Amon-Ra's target share just enough that I will take Darnell Mooney over Amon-Ra because of it. Round 6. Now, this is where things start to get interesting because at this stage of the draft, there is a bit of a drop-off at the wide receiver position. There's a bit of a drop-off. There's question marks at the running back position. I mean, Elijah Mitchell is there, but I mean, they're already talking about how Shanahan wants to rock that running back by committee, which he's done his entire career as a coach. So why should we be shocked about that? But tell me the one guy, the most obvious, the bulletproof player that you and I are just absolutely going to smash drafting around 6, and then I'll try to find a scrap player that I can say.
I think I know who you're talking about, but in my perfect draft, I have Elijah Moore in that slot. Elijah Moore is my breakout season. This is my breakout guy. This is my all-in breakout guy. This is the dude that's going to lock in, and he put on weight. He's up to 190 pounds now. That's really good to hear. I actually really like to hear that. He's not going to lose any speed with that. He's just going to be able to stay healthy.
Yeah. So for the people, last year as a rookie, he played at 178 pounds. So he put on 12 pounds. And if you look at
that's huge.
He didn't put on 12 pounds of fat like I do. He put on 12 pounds of muscle.
And so that tells me he understands the superpower for any NFL player is availability, right? Like to be available for your team and to be consistently on the field. And I think he understands that I think he knows he's the number one until proven otherwise. And I think he put on the weight for a reason because they are telling him, dude, you're about to get double-digit looks almost every game, and you're going to need to stay on the field. And so he put on those 12 pounds. I love that. Between week 9 and week 14, he was absolutely killing it when he was healthy. And Zach Wilson, this all really comes down to Zach Wilson. Nothing really is about Elijah Moore. It comes down to Zach Wilson and his ability to throw the football. I think this year is going to be a big step forward for him. I don't think he's going to be like a star, like a Joe Burrow or anything. I think he's going to be a guy that is going to be able to be more consistent for his team, and he's going to be able to put his team in positions to win games. And Breece Hall is going to be able to help that, take some of that pressure away from Zach Wilson, and it's going to make the play action a lot more tasty for Zach Wilson and that big arm. And I just think Elijah Moore is set to explode. I think that whole Jets team is like 2 years ago Bengals. That's what I think. I think they are in the next couple of years, they are going to be a force. And this year it's going to be Elijah Moore breakout. And then we're going to see a monstrous year from Elijah Moore.
Yeah, so for what it's worth, so Elijah Moore, he played at Ole Miss, so he played with DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's house affected. Elijah Moore was a better wide receiver than he is. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just conversational, obviously, but we've seen it with Elijah Moore. He broke out, largely when Zach Wilson was out last season. Yeah. So you worry about the chemistry a little bit, but at the same time, they're practicing in the offseason. How do you foresee it? So now the fact that he's 190 pounds, I mean, he could still continue to play prominently in the slot position, but I could see him playing more outside. I mean, 100%. This reminds me, this is like Antonio Brown size. Now, he's not Antonio Brown 100%. Yet, right?
He can be.
In a perfect scenario, he maybe could be. And that's
he can be.
He could be, man. And
he sure can.
That's his archetype. That's his body type. That's the way he plays the game.
Yep.
So he could be a firm outside receiver, and he's got the wheels. He's got
4.3. He ran a 4.3, high 4.3s. Pretty sure he ran a high 4.3, bud. Like 4.38.
4.40. 4.40.
4.40. Okay.
4.40.
Well, that's right on the dot. Perfect.
Right on that dot. So, for his size at the time, it wasn't great. It wasn't a great speed score, but it's still elite speed.
His route running is so sick.
Yeah. So, I mean, Elijah Moore is an absolute smasher. In round 6, I mean, I would take him around 5. Frankly, we just don't have to yet because he's right?
Dude, honestly, though, he's falling into round 7s and best balls all the time. I'm smashing him. So my play is I take Gibson in the 6th round, and then I take Elijah Moore in the 7th. And that is – so I had a grouping of J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Moore, and Gibson for round 6. And that is the grouping I like to deal with. Gibson, we were talking about pre-show. The disrespect has gone way too far. It's just way too far. The value is incredible. All the sharps are on it. Cody Carpentier, the Podfather, all these guys, they're like, we are so in on Gibson at this ADP. It's crazy. All the sharps are starting to go right back to Gibson because the value is perfect.
Value's too cheap. I mean, you highlighted him as one of your guys, but obviously Elijah Moore, we're both on the same page. The nuts best player to draft in this round is Elijah Moore. Yep. Elijah Moore's taken. The guy that I'm leaning towards, I like Jalen Hurts in this round. Typically, we say don't go and draft high-end quarterbacks early because there's so much depth this year. But if Jalen Hurts is sitting there in mid-round 6 and I'm on the clock, I love smashing a button on him. We already know A.J. Brown is there. A.J. Brown makes his hay as being a hyper-efficient wide receiver in the league. Okay?
Yep.
So we worry a little bit about A.J. Brown. We worry about Devonta Smith and their production for fantasy this season. But for Jalen Hurts, having 2 reliable options like that, and make no mistake, Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts have real chemistry. And then you add on to the fact that A.J. Brown and Hurts are buddies. So they obviously play together. They practice together. Now they're on the same team together. They were ecstatic when they found that they were going to be teammates. He's got their rushing upside. Until he battled with injuries later in the season, he was wasn't he like the QB1? He was between QB1 and 3 pretty much the entire season. And we're fading this guy just because we're worried that he's not going to improve. Every single year as a pro, he's improved. Every single year in college, he continued to improve as a player. He's a true leader of men. I think it would be a big difference if Jalen Hurts was a Carson Wentz type player that was kind of an ass. Wasn't a great teammate. The team loves Jalen Hurts. The management loves Jalen Hurts. The coaches love Jalen Hurts. The players love Jalen Hurts. He's a true leader of men. I'm of the opinion, it's not really a bold call, but no matter how he does this year, he's gonna get the season to prove that he's either the guy or he's not the guy. In round 6, when you go RB early wide receiver early, like we've been preaching, taking a guy
Mhm.
like Jalen Hurts around 6, assuming Elijah Moore's already off the board. I love it. He's going to help you win your league. Let's move on to round
Yep, I
7,
like
Brendan.
it. Sure.
Give me your round 7 guy.
So my perfect stack is with Joe Burrow, and this is where I take Joe Burrow in round 7 to stack with T. Higgins. I think this offense is I think it's going to be number 1 in the of the NFL. I honestly believe number 1 overall passing offense in the NFL. Bengals 100. That's who it's going to be. Joe Burrow is finally going to come up, have a full healthy offseason to work. This guy is so driven I guarantee this loss in the Super Bowl is going to make him just work every minute of this offseason. And I think that's the type of personality this guy has. And he has 3 legitimate pass catchers with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. And all 3 of those guys can go get you 1,000 yards. Like, would you be surprised if that happened? No, I wouldn't. T. Higgins is going to have a crap ton of touchdowns. Jamar Chase is going to have more yardage and touchdowns. Tyler Boyd will have a lot more yardage instead of touchdowns. I think Tyler Boyd is another guy that's kind of sneaky to go get late in drafts to put in your best balls just so you don't have to predict it to stack with your Joe Burrow stack as well. But like I said, I got him stacked in my perfect lineup with T. Higgins, and I am ecstatic about it because honestly, if he puts up similar numbers to what Matt Stafford did last year, going into the Rams, he'll be a top 5 QB, and that's perfectly fine with me. If he does what Tom Brady does, which is totally possible, he'll be QB3. And I think that this notion that pocket passers can't be in the top tier elite QBs because they don't run, it's actually kind of nonsense when you got guys like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Lamar, and Tyler Boyd, and then you got Mixon catching footballs out of the backfield as well. And then with the additions of this brand new line, Joe Burrow is going to be protected. He's going to have time. He's going to be able to allow plays to develop, and he's going to be able to just dice up defenses because he's going to be protected, and he doesn't have to worry about getting his head taken off every other freaking snap. So it seems like that's how it was last year, and he still rose above it with a knee that was just coming off the mend. He's going to have a full year from injury, over a year and a half by the time the season starts. I'm so in on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow MVP. Lock it in right here, right now. Go make the bet, people. Go make the bet. That is a great bet to make. And try and argue against it. Try and argue. The NFL absolutely loves Joe Burrow. They love to use him in media. He is perfect for that. He's the face of the NFL. He could be the face of the NFL. And I feel like this is when the young quarterbacks are going to take over the reins from the Aaron Rodgers, from the Tom Brady's. This is when the young QBs, the Herberts, Joe Burrow, and Lamar are just going to take over this league.
This is an interesting round because there's a lot of quarterbacks going in this round. You mentioned Joe Burrow. I mean, he's really going in late 6, early 7. Joe Burrow's going in this round. Russell Wilson's going in this round. Trey Lance is going in this round, and Tom Brady's going in this round. I mean, Joe Burrow, he was going way too early in drafts before. He was going in round 5 at the start of the draft season. This is a far more palatable place to be taking Joe Burrow because of the
perfect spot now.
I mean, really, in my opinion, there's a bit of a tier break after that Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts tier just because of that rushing upside. But to your point, I mean, if this guy's going to be throwing 650 passes a season, just like
he will,
Josh Allen's of the world, he doesn't have the elite rushing ability like some of those other players, but he does have great scrambling ability. So he can scramble for that first down. He can keep drives going. We saw it. It's why they got to the Super Bowl, guys. So
and he was doing that with a knee that wasn't right. He was doing that with a knee that he wasn't. If you watch him in the beginning of the season, you can tell when the Bengals figured out they have confidence in his knee. The play calling completely changed. It went from running the football, easy intermediate routes to just deep shots towards the late season. And that's when Jamar Chase and T. Higgins totally exploded. And that's when Joe Burrow threw for 500 yards that my boy Mike Dickinson called that week. called it. He said
Yeah.
he's throwing for 5 bills this week. And I straight up laughed. I was like, I was like, how can you make that call? And
He's a smart
look
guy.
at that.
Yeah.
And like, geez, Mike, I like, that's when I started to start listening to the Oracle, Mike Dickinson, a little bit more.
Yes.
Was right after that. I was like, okay, man, like you get it. Like and that was, and he's had some big calls like that. And we miss Mike Dickinson, and it's just too funny that he called that. And it was just the monstrous performance of the year. It was awesome.
It was good.
Yeah.
I've got 2 guys this round that I like drafting here. So I'm going to pull a Brandon, and I'll give an honorable mention first, and then we'll talk about my guy after.
Okay.
Drake London is going here as wide receiver 37, going to pick 7.3. Drake London has that insane upside. You and I have been very pro Drake London throughout this entire rookie draft process.
Yep.
The one thing I will say is there's some chatters out there about Jimmy Garoppolo potentially being a candidate to be traded to Atlanta. That interests me. Now, Marcus Mariota is a fine player, and Drake London will be okay. But if Jimmy Garoppolo is actually traded to Atlanta, which would mean he's not going to go to Seattle, so he's not going to be traded into division. You can probably get it for pretty cheap. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for San Francisco to do this. Drake London's a smash. But I think that'll probably also elevate his ADP and probably closer to the 6th round. So draft him now to get that upside. But the player that I'm really leaning for, and this is just on brand for us, I mean, a player that I honestly wasn't on, and then I started doing shows with Kevin, and, Kevin's a little wild, but he's got some sharp fantasy football takes. And he's in on Allen Lazard. And at round 7, man, at pick 7.8, he's going as a wide receiver 39 at 80 overall. Allen Lazard, this is just pure, unbridled, unadulterated upside. Allen Lazard is Aaron Rodgers' #1 target. He's his most trusted player on the field. Randall Cobb is there, but he's old as sin. Randall Cobb's mostly there. He's like the old grandpa who's like coaching these young players. And I like that. Christian Watson's going to be okay. But, historically, we know Aaron Rodgers is a very fickle personality. He likes what he likes, and he doesn't like rookie wide receivers, generally speaking. So Christian Watson, give him the benefit of the doubt. But if you want to save absolute player that's going to completely outperform his ADP here, it's got to be Allen Lazard. And, if you're cooking with gas and you got Allen Lazard as your wide receiver 4, which means you're probably playing him as a flex, like, damn, man, like that's a sexy build to start your draft.
I get that, but I fully expect Odell Beckham to be a Packer. I feel like Odell Beckham is going to rain on somebody's party sometime in the mid-season. I think the Green Bay Packers will end up struggling a little bit in the first half of the season, and there's going to be a lot of screaming by the fans. They're going to be like, "Why would you, not get somebody right away that can actually help us right now when we got an old quarterback and we're in win now mode, right?" So I think Odell is a perfect fit for that. He was rumored to go there last year before he went to the Rams. The Rams signed Allen Robinson. There's still rumors that possibly Odell could go back there, but I really have a hard time thinking that he's going to be able to do that. So I feel like Odell to Green Bay or Kansas City makes a ton of sense. But I agree. I understand Allen Lazard. I put him in my flex a few times and paid off. So I get it. I get that. Not something I wouldn't do, but for now.
Yeah. For all, all we can do right now is work with the information that we have. And right now, Allen Lazard is the #1 wide receiver on that team. And so in round 8, look, Devontae Adams is a far superior player than Allen Lazard, but he's always going around 1 perpetually, right? Because he was Aaron Rodgers' #1 guy. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see if Devontae Adams can continue to produce at the same level with, frankly, a lesser quarterback at Derek Carr. Decent quarterback, lesser quarterback to Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
I would say safe play. And honestly, if he sucks, try to trade him or just cut him. Like round 8 or round 7 at this stage of the draft.
It's not going to kill you.
It's low risk, right? Okay, let's get into round 8. Let's round out our first 8 rounds of our perfect fantasy football draft in 2022. So who's your guy?
So I'm going to review again. So I got where is it at? So I got Justin Jefferson, Swift, T, Brees, Bateman, Elijah Moore, Joe Burrow, and then my round 8 I need that high-end upside tight end. I need Dallas Goedert on that squad. Dallas Goedert is going to be that guy that this guy has been bothered by Zach Ertz his whole career, right? He is last year he finally got traded. He's going to be the guy this year from the start. I feel like Jalen Hurts, with the addition of AJ Brown, I think this helps out Goddard immensely, to be honest, because it's going to force coverage to go over the top to AJ Brown, and this guy is going to be flying down the seams and catching touchdowns after touchdown. I just feel like he's going to have a lot of touchdowns in his future this year. He has top 5 upside, and I like that offense. I think that offense is going to be nice this year, like you said, with Hurts. I think he's going to be able to raise his level of play. And I think having AJ Brown in the mix is just going to help that offense overall for everybody. So Goddard is my locked in tight end in round 8.
Yeah, I mean, you just shot on TJ Hawkinson, but Hawk's also going to round 8, so I would take Hawk over him. But Dallas Goedert, he's okay. He's fine. I don't love it, don't hate it.
I don't like Hawk at all. I don't like Hawk at all. I don't like how he plays football.
Yeah, my round 8 choice. Well, so Hawks, I mean, he's more of an inline blocker, right? Which is risky. I get it. Okay, round 8, we're going all upside, baby. And there's a few landmines in here, man. There's a lot of buzz out there that MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, is showing great chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. I worry about a little bit. Demarcus Robinson was there forever. He should quote great chemistry. Didn't really do much for fantasy football. Rashad Penny is rocketing upwards. Yes. He's now at ADP 93 overall. To me, that's a risky ass pick because we're both pro Ken Walker guys. Yeah. Kareem Hunt's fine. No sizzle, no sex appeal there. It's got to be Chris Olave, man. Chris Olave. Wide receiver 45, 91 overall. Now Olave's moving up boards. Yeah. There was some discussion about Michael Thomas being ready. He's getting healthy. He's getting closer. Right now, training camps are just starting. Okay, we're recording this, late July. And
July 23rd.
Camps are July 23rd. We're recording this. We're going to release it a week later. So, take that for what it is. But as of right now, Michael Thomas was just put on the PUP list. For a player who's been, quote, recovering for almost 2 years at this point, you don't like to see that this late in the recovery process. Now, we talk about this all the time. As we get closer and closer to the season, if news is coming out that Michael Thomas is completely healthy, we're going to have to reevaluate. But right now, it doesn't pass the sniff test, Brandon. If he's fully healthy, why are you putting him on the active PUP list? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I get it costs him nothing to do it, but Chris Olave, he's one of the most complete wide receivers that was drafted this year. He could have come out last year, but he decided he wanted to go back and try to make a run for a championship. They didn't do it, but at least he went back there. Highly drafted. I think he's going to be able to step in. And frankly, one of his superpowers is those close to the line of scrimmage passes. He's also got the deep wheels. He's got a nose for the end zone. Chris Olave, man, at this stage in the draft, lock him on your bench. And in a month when he's popping, show a little patience, but I mean, he could pop week 1. But in a month when he's popping, you're going to thank me. I mean, he could be that Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he's going to be an absolute target magnet and really make a difference and help you win your league. And that's what it's all about at this point in the draft, right? You want upside players that are going to help you win your damn league.
What did I say? Like when we were through this when we were doing dynasty rookie drafts and all that stuff, what did we say about Olave? What did I keep saying privately to you? I was like, this reminds me of the Justin Jefferson year. It just reminds me, everybody was talking about Adam Thielen. He's going to be getting all the targets, blah, 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 blah. Justin Jefferson is not going to, take that number 1 wide receiver position away this year, blah, blah, blah. And look what happens. Justin comes in, lights the world on fire, and just is absolute star. I just feel like Olave on that turf in New Orleans is going to be something fierce to deal with. I think I think the team has made it very apparent that they don't trust Michael Thomas. I think they still kind of got a bitter taste in their mouth about how he dealt with this injury to begin with. I think there's some issues there. They did sign Jarvis Landry. You gotta talk about that a little bit. Olave's got somebody he's already talked about how he's already learning how a route running with Landry. It's already picking up. He's he's learning little tricks to the trade. So I'm all in on Olave, but I'm not in on Olave over I have a grouping here for round 8, and it was Goddard, it was Trey Lance, and then it was my guy Treylon Burks. Yeah. Treylon Burks has just been sinking like a stone, which is great for me because I just like to eat up that value. I'm excited for that. I want him to drop in drafts because if I can add him as my wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 5, are you kidding me? This guy has wide receiver 2 upside in that offense with all the vacated targets. There is nobody there in Tennessee to actually take away targets from him. Robert Woods is still he looked gimpy to me in videos I've seen of him. And he doesn't look the same to me that I remember Robert Woods as when he was doing cone routes and he was still wearing a brace. So I mean, I see some major issues with that, and I see big time vacated targets, and I see Burks as a guy that was drafted to be AJ Brown. They honestly drafted him to replace AJ, that's the plan. And so I'm going to go with that until I see otherwise he can't do it, because that opportunity and volume combined with his talent, it's there for a really good rookie season. My problem is the fact that he has these questions about work ethic, man. There's work ethic questions, conditioning questions. I was just listening to a coach of his from Arkansas where he did the same exact thing when he came to off-season workouts. He wasn't quite in shape, and he had to bow out early in practices because he wasn't in shape. And look what happened. Same thing happened in Tennessee, but it didn't mean that he didn't. And then the coach came on and said it didn't mean that he got his shit together during the season. He got in shape. Everything was fine. He was extremely productive and a star, but it took some push by these coaches to get him there. So I just want this. I wish he was more of a self-starter, self-starter, but it seems like he needs some coaching, and he needs to become a pro. He needs to learn how to be a pro. And so I just want him to, and if he can do that, his upside is the highest of anybody in this draft. I mean, it's just what it is. And so let's see if he can just get, in shape. Let's just see what happens in training camp and see what happens in the first couple preseason games. If he's bowing out of camp practices late in camp, I'm going to be pissed off and nervous about it. So, but we'll see.
It's been over a month.
Yeah.
It's been over a month.
Since that.
Yeah, since that. So training camps are starting this week. It'll be very interesting to see what the beat reporters, people on the ground, are going to be saying about one Treylon Burks. I love that, brother. That's fantastic. I mean, man, we talked about a lot of great players. Let's end it there. We're gonna have to do a show on late sleepers another day, but I mean that's a lot of great content, and that's it. So for those of you who are enjoying what you're listening to, if you find value in this, comment on the show, because that YouTube algorithm, those robots, they love the comments. I'll comment back personally. Say you hate Brandon's
Treylon Burks take
right now. Say you hate Brandon's Treylon Burks take. Say you hate his Seattle Seahawks muscle shirt there.
Incoming top 3 pick incoming in 2023. We're gonna get ourselves a quarterback next year.
I mean we're just getting started over here at DFS Army. Go check out the website dfsarmy.com. Ton of free articles. Just go check out that season-long fantasy football section. Tons of free articles talking about strategy, guys to target, guys to avoid, roster construction. It's all there for you. So also like and subscribe, hit that alert button so you know whenever we're going and there's a new video that gets dropped though. But for Brandon, I'm Flex Shane, and we are the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show.